Federalist 16, Part 2. Okay, when we read these next two paragraphs, all he will be talking about is if how we do not unite under this new federal union, under this new constitution, and if we stay with the old constitution, the confederation, the old constitution, will not be bringing us peace and prosperity. Why? Because we have already seen that we were having problems during the time of the American Revolution. When we needed to stick together during the American Revolution, we were having problems. Now it is obvious. You don't have to have a brilliant mind to know that once there is no war with another invading country, then these problems are going to be bigger, and we are going to eventually, sooner or later, because of different reasons, because of pride, because we will have some ambitious people in different parts of these states that want to say, hey, I make all the calls, I'm the important person. He says because of that, because of foreign countries taking advantage of us, we will sooner or later be at war with one another. And that will bring our destruction, and that is not what we want. So these next two paragraphs, just keep that in mind. Okay, I'll start shortly with this short paragraph. This exceptionable principle may as truly as emphatically be styled the parent of anarchy. It has been seen that delinquencies in the members of the Union are its natural and necessary offspring. And then whenever they happen, the only constitutional remedy is force, and the immediate effect of the use of it is civil war. He says, the system we have right now is the parent of anarchy. It's going to lead us to anarchy, chaos. And when he says delinquencies of the members, remember during the American Revolution, during the Revolutionary War, Congress would keep on asking things from different states, would make requisitions, and they would always be delinquent. They would be late to answer, to provide the Congress with what it needed. Some states would be better than the others, but he says delinquencies would always be there. And because of that, we will see that it's just a natural offspring. That's going to give birth to problems that we will have to use force to make one part pay what they owe. And before you know it, that will lead to war and civil war. Then in the next paragraph it says, it remains to inquire how far so odious an engine of government in his application to us would even be capable of answering its end. What kind of a government would we have? This odious an engine, this something that is nasty, that's not wanted by at least part of the states. It's going to lead us to anarchy. So we'll see that this thing is not going to be our answer. This is just going to be giving us more trouble. If there should not be a large army constantly at the disposal of the national government, it would either not be able to employ force at all, or when this could be done, it would amount to a war between different parts of the Confederacy. So let's say you end up having a national army. And let's say South Carolina and Georgia and North Carolina decide to be delinquent in making payments that you require. what you will do with that army, you go over there to try to force them to pay what they owe. And obviously that is going to hurt their pride, and they're going to unite and start a war with you. That's one way it's going to happen. So he says, when it could be done, it would amount to a war between different parts of the Confederacy concerning the infractions of a league in which the strongest combination would be most likely to prevail, whether it consisted of those who supported or those who resisted the general authority. Infraction means when you break the law, when you don't respect the rules, that's an infraction. And again, he says, some parts of these states are going to listen to the central government and some parts won't. And that would mean, again, it's another way of looking at why we will have civil war. It would rarely happen that the delinquency to be redressed would be confined to a single member. And usually, whoever who's late in making the payment, they're delinquent when you've made the request from them to give you money or militia soldiers. It usually is not going to be only one state. It'll be more than one state. It won't be just one member, he says. And if there were more than one who had neglected their duty, similarity of situation would induce them to unite for common defense. So if one state decides to be delinquent, a lot of times what happens in that the region they're in, because they'll have similar economy or similar interests, the chances are one or two of the other states would unite with them. So it's usually not going to be your national army against just one state. So tribal groupthink will take over. Independent of this motive of sympathy, if a large and influential state should happen to be the aggressing member, it would commonly have weight enough with its neighbors to win over some of them as associates to its cause. It says, let's suppose New York, okay? New York is the one that breaks the law. Or Virginia is the one that breaks the law. Or Pennsylvania. These are big states, and what happens is that in their neighborhood, they are usually influential. They will usually have some influence on the other states, and those states will think, well, this state is big, so we better take their side. And before you know it, again, that will lead to war and conflict, again, because of self-interest or wrong calculation. And he continues, species argument of danger to the general liberty could easily be contrived. They can all of a sudden come up with a lie, contrive something. Say, if you do not unite, like state of New York might tell New Hampshire and Massachusetts, if we do not unite, the rest of those states are going to conquer us, come in and take everything we need. So they'll come up with an excuse to try to unite everybody. It'll be contrived. Plausible excuses for the deficiencies of the party could without difficulty be invented to alarm the apprehensions, inflame the passions, and conciliate the goodwill even of those states which were not chargeable with any violations or omission of duty. What will happen is that once you start these troubles, the troubles arise, then it's real easy to play with feelings and emotions, passions of people in the neighboring states. even if they did not have at first any problems with the national government, what will happen is some influential people here go and start making speeches and get people riled up, get people mad at the national government. So all sorts of lies and excuses will be come up with to get other people in the neighboring states to unite against what they think is their enemy. This would be more likely to take place as the delinquencies of the larger members might be expected sometimes to proceed from an ambitious premeditation in their rulers with a view to getting rid of all external control upon their design of personal aggrandizement. So he says it's real easy to understand that. Somebody, let's say in New York, who is ambitious, who feels like they are not going to be a leader in the 13 states, but they can be a leader of 1 or 2 states. They want personal aggrandizement. They want their egotistical look. They'll just want everything that's good for them, not care about what's best for the whole nation. If that big state is the one that's delinquent, that's late in paying their payments or answering to the requests of the national government, then there might be 1 or 2 people that would rather be the president of a confederacy of 3 or 4 states because they think they might be able to do that. But they might think that they will not be a president of 13 states. So that alone might give them reason to stand against the national government, play with people's passions and emotions, and this way, sooner or later, start a war that will be awful for everybody, just because of their egos and their passions.